Hey guys, just wanted to take some time today just to break down the planter. We've been getting a lot of questions during this order writing process, and we just want to talk about the components and how they all work together. And really, when this planter hits the field, we want to make sure that that is the best setup and the expectations are met from the grower perspective.
Like Isaac was saying, we've been getting a lot of calls, and as you guys are working through the order writing for these planters, you get a lot of these terminologies as you're looking down and units or the components, and you don't really know necessarily what they are. So we want to take the time to actually visually show you the components as we're looking at the planter. So we're going to start at the top by the bar and work our way down. Just do a quick run through on the components so you and I both know what the components are, and then we'll move how they all work together to make the Momentum the best planter out there. So the first component we're going to talk about is Delta Force. So this is standard on all our planters right here, and this is a dual acting cylinder. So what this is, we can actually apply downforce to the row unit, and then also we can put lift on the row unit itself to get the desired weight on the ground. So how we measure that is we actually have load pins on each row. So this is what it looks like taken out, and you'll be able to see it here a little closer. But where this is mounted is right down by the gauge wheels. You can see in the video right here, you'll see the back side of it where it's sticking through, and that's where it comes through. That actually measures how much weight is actually on the gauge wheels as it's applying down. So with the computer, with the hydraulic lift and lower, we can actually lift it if it's putting too much, or if we need to put more to sink the seed down into the ground, we can put some weight down onto it to get our desired weight on the ground. All right, so the next unit we're going to talk about is the SRM, which stands for the single row module. To get to that, we got to remove the seed hopper here. So we're going to take this apart. We're going to take this off to the side. So we'll actually unplug this quick. All right, so we're looking at this. As you can see back here, this is the black module right here. So the SRM is on top, and then it moves down to our expansion hub. So when you look at this, this is our main brain box comes in for this row, and then basically think of this as an extension harness to add components to the row. So it just basically plug and play. So if you're gonna add speed tubes, anything like that, this is where it just plugs and plays, and you already have a spot to plug it right into, right down here. All right, the next component we're going to talk about is the hopper. So as you look at this, the planter we're on today is actually speed tube ready from factory. So this is what it's going to look like if you order a planter that's speed tube ready from factory. So when you look at this, the same hopper is going to be either way you do it, if you do a standard seed tube or the speed tube option. So when you look at this, the same hopper, but then when we go down, the meter is going to be different. So this is our V set 2 meter with our V drive below it. So if you look down here, this is our normal seed tube meter. So you can see the differences as you look here at it. There. So next, let's crack open this meter so you can see what it looks like on the inside. So it's easy to take apart. There's a lever here, you just pop it off, comes right out, and you can hold it in your hand. So as we're looking at this, we can take off the front plate and open it up. So this is our meter split apart. So this is going to come from factory. We got a 27 cell corn disc, which you can see there's actually 27 cells around here. And then we also offer a 56 cell soybean and an 80 cell soybean disc. What I recommend in most cases is going to be the 56 cell versus the 80, but it's going to be more preference, and we can have those conversations when you get to that point on what seed disc to use. So as we're looking at the seed disc here, let's take this off. So when you order these, when you open it up, this is something we're gonna have to check when we do a crop changeover as well. But you're gonna have a gasket here for the vacuum, and then you're actually gonna have a seed ejector right here. So pretty easy, take it off, put it back on. So as we look on the other side, it'll be a singulator. So this one says corn on it. So when you're using corn and beans, they'll actually be labeled corn or beans. This is something you have to switch over when you do a crop switchover as well. All right, the next component, since this is a speed tube ready planter, let's talk about the speed tube. So the speed tube is located right below the meter here. So as you take the meter off, you'll see it sitting here. So to get it out, you pull it up, and there is a harness here, a wire that plugs in, which goes to our expansion hub here. So you unplug it and it pops right out. You can take it out, you can look at it. So very simple. The idea of the speed tube is they have these feeder wheels up top that actually grabs the seed from the seed disc, comes down and places it in this belt, which grooves it and puts it down and places that seed right where we want to have it put. So at no point is the seed actually free falling. So we have control of that seed as it drops down into that trench. There's no bouncing on it. If you are looking to price speed tubes out, this is a good option for guys looking to go 5 miles an hour and over. So if you have a guy that doesn't want to go over 5 miles an hour, I don't know if I'd recommend pushing them to do the speed tube edition here. So let's take a look at this speed tube inside of it. So as we look at it here, we have our sensors up top here that actually measures the seed coming down, and then it'll also tell us if something's coming back up. So it'll tell us if there's an issue with it. So all you gotta do is unscrew it, pop it off, and this cover actually pops right off. So as you take it off, you can see here, very simple design. So everything on the inside is replaceable. These feeder wheels, I always recommend that we keep them behind the cab, so this is something in season you might want to replace, but everything is replaceable, all the components here. So we got our grabbers up here, and then our belt actually about here comes across. So looking at it, if you take it apart, there is some components on the inside just to notice and look at while I have it here. There's actually a rumble strip here that actually comes down, and as the seed's coming down, it'll actually deafen so the seed's not bouncing back and forth on the inside, and let it travel down the seed and place that where we want it. So very good add-on if a guy is looking to go over 5 miles an hour. All right, so the next component is the momentum we're on today was ordered from factory without row cleaners on it. So our from factory is a universal faceplate for row cleaners. So you can put whatever row cleaner style that you prefer, we can bolt on and they would go right here. From factory, we offer a Yetter shark tooth version row cleaner. So the shark tooth row cleaners I recommend for no-till, low-speed planting applications. If you are looking for doing higher speed like this planter is set up, equipped to do, I would recommend the spiked beveled row cleaners, which is going to be a dealer installed option. So moving back on the row unit here, so this is going to be our standard row unit offerings here. So we have a 16-inch disc opener and then a 3-inch gauge wheel. So this is going to be from factory. This is what we're going to get. We do have some dealer installed options that you can get, but it'd be dealer installed. So you can do a 4.5-inch solid, or you can do a 3-inch or 4.5-inch spoked gauge wheel, which will be, the centers will be hollowed out here. So this is going to be the best setup for doing high-speed applications, the 3-inch solid gauge wheel. But if you did want to do after third-party options, you can also do gauge wheel delete. Don't order the gauge wheels and it'll come without the gauge wheels on it, so you can bolt on whatever gauge wheels you want. All right, so let's talk about the closing system. So the closing system, there are tons of different options out there for closing systems, and every farmer likes something a little different, or it works better in their application. So we kind of leave this as a big building block for you guys. So from factory, we can get dual press wheels with a standard just spring arm that you set the tension on. It's just going to be dual rubber wheels closing system. But with as many closing options as there are, you can order it just like it is here, and you can put on whatever closing system you'd like. That bolt right on and go, would connect right to the row unit back here. All right, guys, now remember in my first clip when we talked about the ease of the bar and the seed tubes coming down and the wiring coming in. So the whole idea of this momentum is simple, efficient, and state-of-the-art planter. It starts with really hooking up to the tractor. So we have many different options, or a few different options for the actual hookup, but the actual hydraulic coming out of the tractor to which drives the planter is very simple. We run everything through Power Beyond, so we have two big lines here, returns, and then we also run our Delta Force lines. So very minimal hookups you can see here, so which goes with our theme of simple and efficient planter. All right, now that we've talked about a lot of this individual components that makes up the Momentum planter, Isaac's going to come up and actually talk about the Fendt exclusive options and what makes the Momentum the best planter on the market today.
Guys, growers are busy. We're all busy, right? So what we want to do in this segment is pretty much just turn this into an elevator conversation. You have 5 minutes with the grower. How can we utilize that time to get our talking points home? So what we're going to cover today in the value added portion is, let's talk simplicity. Let's talk capacity. Let's talk about our smart frame and agronomics. What's behind that? Why are things designed the way that they are? And talk about the vertical contouring toolbar. And also with the precision planting components on the planter, how does it all tie together to make it the most efficient and accurate planter on the market? As you guys sit down with these high producing growers, something that's always on the forefront of their mind, whether it's during harvest or planting, is capacity. The Momentum does not shy away from this. We have two 65 bushel seed hoppers and also a 1,000-gallon tank for your fertilizer. When we think about that, most planters out there are running 500 gallons? You're going to be filling up twice as much, and that is downtime. That is taking your hours away from your highest yielding days of when you need to get that crop in the ground. So we are an industry first. So how do we take that capacity and not create compaction in the soil? So this planter's frame is meticulously designed in order to distribute that weight evenly with our load logic system. Whether that's in our inline tandems, our smart spindles, and being able to move that weight out, or our automatic tire inflation and deflation modes. Let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into those. So our frame and our carrier wheels are designed to not only carry the weight of all the capacity that we have on the center frame, but also to eliminate pinch rows. So we're looking at the inline tandems here, which are sitting underneath our seed tank and our fertilizer tank. The way that this is designed in the load logic system is we have a smart spindle up in this smaller front tire. We also have them on our wings. And what we're doing is we're taking the weight from these wheels, and then we're comparing them to our outside wheels, and we're distributing that weight evenly across the planter. So we're not pushing down all of our weight here, or we're not carrying too much on the outside. We are the only company in the industry that does this right now. And this is it's a huge agronomic benefit. And we also have our valves here that we use for automatic tire inflation and deflation. These tires can only put down as much PSI as in those tires. So as this drops down, we're spreading that weight out evenly. So it came down when we start looking at how did things change in timelines. We had our standard planter, then we went to tracks. And this is a replacement for tracks. It's distributing the weight out evenly, but it's still giving us a nice smooth ride as we're going through the field. So it's been proven over a number of years that Delta Force is a great return on investment. Individual row, downforce, making fifth of a second changes depending on ground conditions. When we start looking at weight distribution, that's a completely different conversation. You set your pressures when you're beginning the field, right? Is that the same amount of weight that needs to be distributed as your fertilizer tank is full and your seed is full versus when it's empty? The answer is no. That's the beautiful thing about the smart spindles. We're able to take out that variable when it comes to pressures being applied out to the wings. Many times if there's too much weight being distributed to the wings and you don't know what your weight pin readings are on your wings, what ends up happening is you create a light planter frame, Delta Force pushing down, and you can float that planter frame, which can lead to shallow planted seed. One of the great features about the Momentum planter is the vertical contouring toolbar. You look at 68 inches of row unit travel. So it doesn't matter whether you're planting it along a terrace or a ditch, you can maintain ground contact that entire time. So when we start looking at, we just talked about the ROI of Delta Force or hydraulic downforce, whatever it be, whatever the grower is running today. That hydraulic downforce does nothing for you if your row unit is dangling and it's against its stop block. So how the Momentum differs is what we have rotary or potentiometers inside of the parallel arm, so we're constantly keeping that parallel arm running parallel to the ground. And then we have the contouring toolbar that makes adjustments. It goes up and down to make sure that no matter what kind of conditions we are in, we're able to keep those gauge wheels on the ground and make sure we're carrying ample amount of weight on that for good furrow creation. All right, so hopefully now you have your 5 minutes of ammo, or your 5 minutes for your elevator conversation with your grower. So what do we discuss? Brandon covered the components. So hopefully you have a healthy knowledge on that and what are the different components and what are they doing and how do they work together. Then we start talking about capacity. These high productive growers, that's always on their forefront, and we carry it, we have it. We start talking about the smart frame, the technology on the toolbar itself. It is industry leading. There's no one else who has a planter frame that functions the way ours does, and it all works together. We start talking about vertical contouring toolbar. What happens when that seed is shallow planted? What is the yield potential that's lost there? And then we also start diving in, we got the simplicity of the thing. And one thing that I forgot to mention, which I think is absolutely so simple, but agronomically important, is this little fine-tuned nut right here. Called the 9-bushel nut. I've seen a lot of planters in my day, and when you start looking at planters, I don't care if it's a brand new or used, you start looking at the depth across every single row, and there's variation. Sometimes it could be up to a ½ inch. So depending on where that moisture line is at in the field, that could be very detrimental. So that's one of the beautiful things about this, is when I set this to 2, I know that I'm planting 2. So this planter is designed for everything to work together congruently. We look at hydraulic downforce with delta force, with our downforce and lift. It doesn't per se care how much weight is in the center of the planter in our CFS tanks or our liquid tanks, because it's able to make its own individual changes. The planter frame itself, it works on its own because it has its own separate system that allows it to increase or decrease the weight needed on the wings. A vertical contouring toolbar is making its adjustments up and down to make sure that we always have enough room for those gauge wheels to press up against that depth stop to give us waypin readings. All of these systems work together in order to give us the best opportunity to create a perfect furrow for that grower and to get that seed placed in the right spot every time. So we appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come out here and join us for our little Fendt chat. Feel free to reach out to us at any time if you guys have questions on anything planter related. We'd love to have that conversation. Thank you.